What's up, guys, and welcome back to the UKMF podcast. It has been a while, a hefty while now, probably 3 weeks when this gets uploaded. Since we
Not good, not good enough, boys.
yeah,
We're
you know,
slacking.
Cav's been slacking. I've been here every night, Discord calling Cav. Where are you, mate? Where are you, mate? Damn, mate, can't come.
Let's bear in mind, if you didn't beat your brother up last week, we were going to do this.
That is a good point. He's got a good point there.
This is true. This is true. He was big fuming, mate. So it is what it is. Anyway, today we are joined by our mate Wes, who is finally back in the UK.
How we doing, guys? Nice. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm just tired, but I'm always tired. So, you know, it is what it is.
Working, man.
I am,
The
mate.
work life, the grinding lifestyle. You know.
Mate, they call me Scott. That was tragic.
No comment. No comment.
That was tragic. That was really. Yeah. Moving on. Moving on.
Cav got it, and he just didn't react for me. Kind of pissed off.
Next time, I'll work on it.
Seek.
So, how you finding it, Wes? Back in the UK?
Well, being back in the UK, I mean, it was weird. It was really being away for just over 3 months, and then but I went away to Mexico and America for people that don't know. And yeah, being back, it was time just started to go really slowly compared to being in New York, for example. But it's so weird adapting back to being in a much smaller town. And yeah, but and again, though, it's nice to be back around friends and family. Sort of getting back to working every day and stuff like that. Sort of nice thing. But yeah, it's all right. It's all right. It's just weird adapting back to it. But
I think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
So, to start off, do a little introduction for yourself. So, what are you doing now that you're back in the UK?
so I currently run my own business making handmade bespoke furniture. I've studied that in college. 3 years ago now? I finished at college 2, 3 years ago. And now run my own business making furniture, mainly wooden furniture. And Cav has seen a lot of my work because a lot of it's surrounded in his house.
This is very true.
But yeah, it's all right. It sort of pays the bills, not really, but you know we'll get there eventually. Lots of things I want to do with it, so we'll see how it goes. And yeah, and with that I run a running club and meet up with friends, and that's about it really. What else do I do? Don't know what else I do with my time.
Not much.
What? I come and sit and record podcasts with Kav and Spencer.
Yeah, sick, mate. Promoted it whilst he was away as well. Probably did a better job at promoting it than we did, to be honest.
Most likely, yeah.
Exactly. We're promoting it to. Well, you guys are going worldwide now. I've promoted you guys out in the US.
Yeah.
Pretty much worldwide.
Yeah, international, mate. International podcast.
Exactly. You'll have the subscribers pouring in before you know it.
I mean, fingers crossed. Would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. Anyway, I think a good question is, like, obviously me and Cav know, but why did you go out to Mexico and America? Like, what was the point of the trip?
So before COVID, pre-COVID, I decided to look into a program called Camp America. For people that don't know, that is a program where you go out to America and work at a summer camp over the summer, sort of between sort of June, July, August sort of time. And I was placed to go and work at the summer camp I was working at in the state of New York, working with special needs and disabled children and adults. But of course, COVID happened, that got postponed, and I was given the chance to go to Mexico this year and get a visa in Mexico to then try and sneak my way into the US, which sounds ridiculously dodgy, because it is very dodgy. And a lot of our friends thought I was, because I ended up going skydiving in Mexico, and they thought that was my way into Mexico, into the US, and sort of flying over the border, but it wasn't.
Oh, I think
It would be a great story if that was the case. I've got shot out of the air by a few Air Force, but you know, right. But yeah, so I went to Mexico to get a visa to allow me to then go and work in the US to do this summer camp.
Yeah.
And I guess I was at a point like, well, then am I ever going to do this ever? I don't really think it's something I'm going to think about doing in the future if I wasn't to go and do it in Mexico. I mean, sort of hitting two birds with one stone. I mean, being able to travel in COVID times, and then also doing something that I'd paid to do a while ago, and have a great time while doing it, and meeting some great people along the way. So, yeah, I think that's the main gist of why I went. I guess life
Yeah.
experiences and all that.
Very nice. Go on, Kav.
But
Sorry, the
Yeah.
girlfriend is very aggressively pouring a
Would you like some?
bottle of Prosecco. I was like, do you have any sort of
Just-
inspirations on why you wanted to go? Did anyone inspire you to want to go out there?
Any
Or is it
inspirations?
just, yeah, or did you just
Um,
randomly decide
I
one
mean, I
day?
guess I didn't have. I mean, I mean, I guess going into end of 2019 into 2020, I sort of wanted to just mix up my life a bit and sort of try and push myself a bit further. There's like we've got so much just there at our fingertips to be able to experience things all around the world, and it seems silly not to take advantage of some of those things. So this is sort of my stepping stone into then what will hopefully come from now. Sort of seeing how I dealt with being away from home for a long time and seeing if it's something I would like to do in the future, sort of working abroad with woodwork, for example, or whatever else. And yeah, I just thought it seemed silly not to take advantage of it, especially while I'm only 21. So it seemed silly not to take advantage of it, especially as I don't really need to start thinking about staying in a solid career for at least a few more years. So yeah, it makes sense to just do. Everyone I've met says travel while you're young, because even though you can travel when you're retired, it's never going to be the same. So make the most of it now, for sure.
Yeah,
And
it's one of them things that I wish before COVID that I did more. So I didn't really go away. I didn't really do much with like any of my mates. Like the amount of times, how many times, Kav, have me and you said, "Oh yeah, we'll go away this summer"? Probably like 3 summers in a row. We never did it.
Pretty much.
So we
mhm.
just ended up going to festivals instead. Don't get me wrong, I love going to
Yeah.
festivals, but I kind of wish that maybe like one of them festivals, the money went on like going somewhere with like mates instead of.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just one of them things.
Yeah, I
innit?
mean, you guys have been to a festival. I've still never been to a festival, and I'd like to go to one. And go, Cav, you would both say, "Man, the festival's not for you," but I still want to experience what a festival's like. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm bringing you to one next year.
sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah,
We'll give you the VIP treatment.
Yeah, it was something like that. VIP's are one way of putting it.
Go up on Ashton's shoulders, mate, and you feel like you're 12 foot in the air. Mad.
Honestly, yeah, that sounds pretty accurate. Yeah,
I was going to
sounds
say,
pretty accurate.
when you went to the actual camp itself, what were the sort of activities you had to do with the people you were looking after?
So we were working on a one-to-one basis. So I had one camper that I was looking after for 10 days, and then we'd have a rotation of just different activities that are going on each day. Sort of things like going down to the lake and playing down at the lake on the boat, arts and crafts based activities, like dance parties, time in the pool, because a lot of the campers live in New York City, so they don't have access to these sort of outdoor facilities that the likes of us three may have grown up with just normally. Like even just having a swimming pool close by, a lot of these people are stuck inside all day, every day, watching TV, playing video games or whatever, and don't really get to see the outside world. So this is their vacation essentially. So we had animals down there, so they do horse riding and feed and pet the animals, spend time with them. What else? There's playground. It's just all sorts of things that are basically based around outdoors and trying to encourage them to be able to interact with things that they wouldn't do on their everyday life because they just don't get those opportunities, especially with the disabilities that a lot of them have. So giving them access to these facilities is just a massive help for them, and this is something that they look forward to all year round, and they'll talk about it all year until they go again next year. I mean, some of these campers have been going for the last 20 years every year, and for them not to have gone last year because of COVID, it's a big thing for them. So it's important that we basically ensure that they have the best time they can. So even though there's activities there for them. They can essentially do what they want, to answer your question. In short.
Okay. What was your sort of expectations versus sort of reality? What were you expecting to get into when you got there? And how different was it when you actually
So
started working?
that's a good question because I knew when I signed up to working at this camp, working with disabled people, that it was going to be tough. But wow, I didn't realize quite how tough it was going to be. It was a whole new level of anything that I've experienced before. Doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. It was a lot. Work looking after. So you got your own camper, but then you're in a cabin. So we're all in cabins. So probably about 15 other people, and then 15 counsellors. So about 30 people in a cabin roughly. And this was a smaller year because of COVID. So normally there'd be a lot more people. And looking after all of these, all the campers, all helping out each other. But some of these campers, my first camper, for example, he was wheelchair, and he was completely non-verbal, and he had no way of communicating with me, and I had to do everything for him. He wasn't independent, so that meant taking the toilet, shower, cleaning him, feeding him, taking him everywhere, and it's things like that yeah, I didn't receive much training for, but I guess you just can't mentally prepare for things like that until you've done it. Obviously now I've done it, I can fully understand the challenges for it, but without having done it before, challenges revolved around it. It was just, you just can't imagine it without having done it yourself.
Like everything's like an obstacle, isn't it? When you get to it, like everything's like
Literally,
a new challenge once you do it. So yeah, I can imagine like
yeah,
like one if you can't really be prepared for anything like that because obviously everyone's individual, aren't they, as well? So you'll every scenario that you're going to go into will be a new scenario for you. So yeah, I can imagine that must have been kind of like crazy. Is there like any activity that you did that like stands out? Obviously, I know you did the skydiving. That must have been like mad. But yeah, so like any
skydive, yes.
Any activity from like the whole time that you were out there that just like stands out that you're never forget?
Skydiving was a massive highlight. I mean, the fact that I did it in Mexico already worries a lot of people because people think, "Oh my God, you went skydiving in Mexico. How are you not dead?" And at the end of the day, they don't want to die either. The people I'm skydiving with, so it's all right.
I think I remember you telling me, wasn't it one of the cheapest skydiving places in the world, or in America, or something like that?
Yep, it is. I'm pretty sure it's in the world. Yeah. It cost me like £170 to do a 17,000 feet skydive to get filmed and the travel to get there, which is about a 3-hour round trip. So, which the skydiving is unheard of. Yeah, but other than skydiving, if obviously because it's just an unreal feeling. I can't explain to you how amazing it is. We're all gonna go one day. That's just it. I went to Yosemite National Park, which is in California. And that was, I mean, absolutely beautiful, absolutely stunning. We did a hike up to around, I think it was around 12,000 feet up, and had a 360-degree view of this area of Yosemite, and it was absolutely breathtaking. I mean, mountains, forests, everywhere in the eye I could see for probably about 100 miles quite easily, honestly. It was, absolutely stunning. And I camped out there for 3 days. A small group of people, and it was an unreal experience. I would like to have done the Grand Canyon, but the Yosemite was definitely up there as a highlight for sure. If you ever get the opportunity to some of the national parks in America are amazing, even though it's massive. But it was absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning.
So do you want to explain the sort of process? So obviously we know you had to go to Mexico to get to the camp. But how did you go around the whole Mexico? So like, you got to Mexico, flown over by plane. Then how did you actually meet people? What did you do because you had to isolate there for quite a while as well?
Yeah.
How did you end up doing all the things you did in Mexico?
So when I knew before going to Mexico, so Camp America essentially organized the visa appointment in the U.S. Embassy in Mexico. I had to fly out to Mexico and stay there for a minimum of 14 days to quarantine before I could then fly again because of COVID and whatever. But the quarantining was just staying in the country. It didn't mean I had to stay in my hotel room or anything like that. I could essentially do whatever I wanted, which was awesome. And so Camp America set up a group chat for everyone from Europe, I think, who are doing the Camp America program and opted to go to Mexico. They set up a group chat on Facebook that everyone could then interact with and sort of find out when people were going and try and meet up with people over in Mexico. So I met a couple of people through that, a couple of girls, two girls from Poland and a girl from Spain, and then I met 3 girls from Russia in the embassy at my embassy appointment, and then my friend met a guy from England from down in Bournemouth. The only other English guy I pretty much met that I didn't know before. And yeah, so that was how I made the first lot of friends in Mexico, through that group chat and the meeting at the embassy. I then reached out to a Facebook group called Yes Theory. Some people may have heard of it. I know these guys heard about it. I've talked about it before. Yes Theory, a YouTube channel that essentially promote seeking discomfort and meeting other people. And there was a group chat in Mexico City for that, so I reached out to people in there and met up with like a group of 15 people, local Mexicans, and we went out for dinner. We went out to a bar, which you could argue was a club as well. And then a couple of them decided to come skydiving with me as well. So yeah, that was really cool, and some of those guys were really cool. So yeah, and then that was basically how I met the bulk of the people while I was out there. I mean, I was on like dating apps at the time, but that didn't end up meeting anyone through that. But yeah, that was essentially the way I met most of the people. And then doing the activities in Mexico, at the time, Mexico wasn't completely closed due to COVID, so it made it a little bit easier. Getting around was difficult. It wasn't too difficult, sorry. Everyone was wearing masks. I mean, Pride happened when I was over in Mexico, and the amount of people for Pride was absolutely insane. It was just think COVID didn't exist. Didn't realize that Pride was such a big thing in Mexico. I learned that after. But yeah, and tours and stuff were still going on, and I could sort of make my way walking around the city and stuff like that. So that just enabled me to do a lot of different activities in Mexico, like visit some pyramids, temples, sort of things. A little bit north of the city, grasshoppers out there. That was pretty cool. I'm pretty sure I got really ill from that though, because I got ill for like 3 days. So I'm pretty sure that got me really ill. There's a lot of karaoke, a lot of fair amount of drinking. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of cocktails were consumed, and a lot of bad singing was said in the same karaoke bar for about 6 nights of the week. Yeah, but that's essentially how I met most people in Mexico, and then I met up with some of them in America after camp finished as well. So yeah, met some awesome people, and now I've got contacts over in Mexico and lots of various other places over South America and things like that, like Colombia, Mexico, obviously, Bolivia, Dominican Republic, and yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
The maddest quarantine, mate.
yeah, yeah. When you hear quarantine, you don't really hear going out drinking every night and going to a karaoke bar and going skydiving, do you?
You're lucky to go to Tesco's and back without getting shouted at by someone.
Yeah.
Don't hang out clubbing.
Yeah. Yeah, because you guys, did you both have to quarantine while I was away as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
it wasn't like a national lockdown. It was just we got COVID, so we had to isolate at home for 10 days.
Yeah, I've had to quarantine 3 times now. It's not fun.
Oh god, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's pretty crap. So that's 32 days in total I've had to do now. So it's not been great. So yeah, I think
that's not fun.
I think one of our mates, Harry's, had it. Well, not had COVID 5 times, but he's had to quarantine 5 times. So I think he's
out all the time.
Yeah, he's in like London, like constantly at work and stuff like that. So he's just he's just around people all the time. So yeah, it can't be fun.
Yeah,
it's one of them things, isn't it?
So whilst you're in America, so
yeah,
what was the sort of process? So it's obviously go to Mexico 2 weeks, then go to camp for, was it 2 months? There was a month of traveling.
Yeah, so normally camp would have started mid-June, but because of going to Mexico, I got to camp late because I didn't get them going to Mexico until the 19th of, was it? I think the 20th of June. I arrived in Mexico, and then I arrived at camp, I think, on the 8th of July. I was there a little bit longer than 2 weeks due to not being able to get my visa straight away because the embassy wasn't open. And so I arrived at camp a little bit late, and I think I was at camp for about a month and a half until it finished. So I finished camp on the 27th of August, and then had until the 27th of no, sorry, the 26th of September to leave America. So then I was able to then travel around America for that month. But I spent a lot of time in New York with my now girlfriend, and then went to San Francisco, and then to obviously Yosemite and San Diego, and I visited some friends down in Houston as well, and got pretty drunk there as well. So yeah,
What would you
yeah. So that was.
What would you say was your top thing you did whilst you were in Mexico, and then top thing in the camp, and top thing from the 1 month spare of traveling?
I mean, so I'm not going to include like the people I met because that's really cringy, and that would just win every time. So definitely Mexico. I mean, skydiving for sure. I've wanted to skydive for ages. Just it really was absolutely out of this world. The feeling of that free falling moment. It went. I had about 50 seconds to a minute free fall, and it honestly felt like it lasted for about 5 seconds. It happened so quickly. And looking back at the video, it's just I just can't watch it without a massive smile being on my face. It was just it was unreal.
I think I'd shit myself. We went to an adult play area. Like how long ago? Like 4 weeks ago, and I went down the big slide, mate, and I realised that my phone was still in my pocket, and I panicked like there's no tomorrow. They're like cross your arms on your chest, and I've gone down, crossed my arms on my chest, and I've gone, oh no, my phone's still in my pocket. So I've just put my hands in my pocket, and I've come back with like hands all like my arms. Wasn't the one.
Oh no! Oh, that's not good.
So yeah, I don't think I'm not very good at falling.
Thing is, because you're doing a tandem, you sort of just get pushed out. You don't really get a choice.
That's true.
At that point, you just as soon as you're in the plane, that's it. You're going.
That's yeah. I don't really have a choice.
No, especially in Mexico, they're not going to give you a choice. They're not gonna care. They're like, right, we're going. What did you say? Yeah, bye. We're going. They're not going to care.
Yeah.
They don't know what you're saying. But yeah, skydiving for sure. And then at camp, man. So I mean, it wasn't. I mean, getting bitten. I got bitten by a dog at camp, which definitely wasn't a highlight. But
Nice.
the slip and slide before that was good fun. We did a few slip and slides. That was really cool. What else did we do, man? There's so much that's happened. Just thinking back through it, I think, wow. Slip and slide was definitely up there. We had at the end of every session, we would have a banquet. So for all the campers, we'd all dress up fairly smart, and then we'd have like a special meal with all the campers and everyone all together. That was really nice. And then at the end of the camp as well, we then had a staff banquet, which they did a PowerPoint, basically embarrassing almost everyone at the camp. That was quite entertaining. They just basically shamed everyone that had problems with relationships or got into problems and stuff at camp, and they just shamed everyone in front of everyone. It was pretty funny.
Cool.
And that was pretty cool. And then there was an after party after that. Ended up going skinny dipping that night, and then that was good fun. About 3 o'clock in the morning, going skinny dipping. That was cool.
Nice and cold.
Yeah, it wasn't. Thing is, New York at that time of year, I mean, at least this year, it was so humid and so warm. It really wasn't that bad. Like you'd be in the sea, you both be in the sea in the UK. Nowhere near as cold as that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah,
don't enjoy the sea in the UK. Too cold.
It is pretty cold. Well, Kav joined me for my month's worth of swimming last year.
Awful.
And that was good fun.
Is that Kav that can't swim?
Nah, this is a dead meme now, guys.
His body goes blue. It just goes really blue, and he just sort of just swims like this a little bit.
Swims like a dog.
Yeah. Or it's like a really quick breaststroke. So his head's like above the water like this.
Alright, let's move on. What was the best thing whilst you're in New York, America?
In New York, man, where do we even start in New York? Some of the places we went to, in Brooklyn, there's a place called Williamsburg, which has got like a rocky area, like the rocks down in Worthing. There's like a rocks on the edge of the river, looking over Manhattan. That was a
Yeah.
really beautiful view. That was really nice. Then the little area of Williamsburg had some really quirky shops, a bit like Brighton. Very sort of modern, hipster, sort of very, yeah, just a very cool little place. That was really cool to be. And then hibachi and lots of the food I ate out there was really cool. What is Sahara doing in the background? Yeah, a lot of the food I ate, a lot of different food out there. A lot of Indian food, hibachi, a lot of Japanese food, Chinese food, a lot of just different cuisines. You can get everything, anything, and everything in New York. So that was pretty cool. I had a corn dog for the first time. That was interesting. Just lots of salt and just, yeah, not my kind of thing, but I can imagine Cav would love that sort of thing.
Yeah, it sounds like Cav food.
It does sound like Cav food.
Nice and healthy.
Yeah, I went to a Broadway show. That was amazing, absolutely amazing. It was Come From Away, which is like based on the true story of 9/11. It was followed the 2 weeks that followed 9/11. It followed a group of people, and their story about how they managed to cope with 9/11. That was very emotional, but I was laughing a lot more than I was emotional and crying. So it was a very good musical. It doesn't sound as depressing and things as it sounds, but
Oh,
it was
okay.
good. It was very good.
So you're not
It
just
sounds
sick
really
in the head.
No, I'm not just thinking the head. Don't worry. Don't worry. Uh, so there were some of the highlights in New York. I mean, to be honest with you, I could go on forever. I spent a lot of time there. So, I mean, by the end, I was like, okay, I'm fine. I've done everything I want to do in New York, pretty much. I mean, visiting there, to go and visit there, it's just there's so much there to see.
Yeah.
Even the 9/11 museum was really good as well. I mean, I find 9/11 is just mind blowing to me. How that managed to happen and all that, and being in the museum was quite heart wrenching. That was quite cool. And then, yeah, in America, obviously Yosemite, and go to San Diego. San Diego, if you want to go learn to surf, very chill, very nice place to be. Lots of really nice people, and yeah, I got good vibes from San Diego. It was just a really nice. There's definitely there as a location that I visited, like a city. That was definitely my favorite city that I visited.
Okay.
It was just a really nice place to be.
Yeah.
I like the vibe down there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Are you looking back? Are you looking back? Are you looking to go back to America at some point to do more?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I will. I'm considering doing camp again next year, which I probably will do. But if I do it again next year, I'll only do it for this one more year, and then after that, I'll be looking to do something else.
Yeah.
Because as hard as and as fun as and as tough as it is, we also don't get. I mean, I don't want you're there for the experience, but at the end of the day, there's only so long I can keep going for with only earning very, very limited amount of money for being out there for 3 months because the pay is fairly low. Which is fine. I'm there for the experience, but when you sort of hit 25 or whatever, a bit later on,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd just rather do more, lots of different, a few other experiences than just having the same one every time, going to the same
Yeah.
place every time.
Yes. Yes. Fair enough.
So yeah, but I mean, there's so much of America, so I'm going to go back there at some point, hoping to go down there, over there again for around New Year's sort of time, next. So that's the current plan, when I'm next going out there. So
Very nice. Yeah. I
yeah.
guess like the older you get as well, and like if you get into like a more not stable job, but more like more like of a fixed term job as such, like
Yeah,
it's harder, isn't it, to go out and
yeah,
do
exactly.
stuff. So it's exactly what you said at the start, like do it whilst you are young and you still do have the opportunity
Yeah, exactly.
to do it before you have that career that is like the career for life kind of thing. So yeah, I think
For sure, for sure.
I think it's such a cool thing to do. Like proper jealous. But
I'm not gonna lie, the decision, because obviously before when the Mexico opportunity came up, I got it through an email and I was like, this is crazy, but I want to do it. And a lot of people were very skeptical about it and thinking, are you mad? And I guess I am a little bit mad. I'm definitely not saying in the head up here completely. It's probably, as a life decision and something to do, it's probably the best decision I've ever made, because it really has changed my life. And I know it's so cliche to say that, but for it to have happened in the circumstances that the world's in right now, it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't turn down the opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you're one of the only people that I know that have done something since it all kicked off.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
Like
I know
you
I'm very lucky for that as well.
I remember
you and-
thinking you were a bit nuts. So when we went to Manchester, he brought his laptop with him. And I was like, why are you bringing your laptop to go karting? He's like, oh, I'm waiting for the email back going to Mexico. And I was like, right, let's rewind this a little bit. Why is this happening?
Had I not told you about that at that point, I probably hadn't. It happened so quickly. So
Yeah, I
it
knew
happened
about-
in a matter of weeks.
Yeah, I knew about you obviously wanting to go out there to do Camp America and stuff, but I didn't quite know about the
Yeah,
having to travel to Mexico to get a visa and hope
Yeah.
it goes through to get into America.
yeah, yeah. It happened so quick. I think in a matter, I think 2 weeks. I think in the space of about 5 days, it was a decision of I've just found out about the trip, and then I think 5 days later I'd said yes and then was paying for my flight out there and stuff like that. It was happened very, very quickly.
That's mad.
Because I didn't have long to make a decision. So because there were only limited spaces for getting a visa. So yeah, it was very much touch and go. Because I think Camp America, I remember reading that they sent 500 people out to America this year, whereas normally they would send out 10,000 plus.
Jesus,
so
okay, mad.
yeah, so it's mind blowing still that I was able to be where I was this year. So yeah, I wouldn't change any of it.
Did you
Yeah.
get to choose the camp you go to, or was it completely random?
So I do get an element of choice. So when I put my application out through the Camp America company, my application then goes live, then all the camps to then look at. And then you'll then receive an offer, I guess an invitation to speak to the camp director of the camp that's offered you a place, or would like to speak to you further about potentially offering you a place at the camp.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was within about 24 hours. I mean, this is a couple of years ago now when I got offered a place. The camp, obviously this camp, Mike, the director, messaged me saying, I'd like to speak to you about potentially hiring you for camp. And I never intended on definitely going to a special needs and disabled camp. That was never I never had a plan of where I was going to go. It was just sort of that was the first opportunity that came up, and he offered me a place, and I thought about it for a couple of days. And I was thinking, well, I could go to a traditional summer camp and have a great time and go and travel around America, and yeah, just almost like as if I was like when I was younger, being a young leader for Cubs in scouting, similar to that kind of thing. But I guess I just decided, well, this is something that, as tough as it will be also be a very much an eye-opening and life lesson sort of experience to really appreciate what I have and be able to see what other people have, how other people live their life in such a different scenario to me. And also doing this sort of camp. I was hoping to meet a lot of like-minded people like myself, because not everyone's going to opt into wanting to work at a camp with disabilities and things.
Yeah.
So that was a big drive for that, because I knew I would hopefully meet like-minded people like myself, which that did end up happening, which is awesome. So I could have said no, and then my application would have gone out again to then other camps that offer me places, but it was never guaranteed. So I just opted into going for it, and yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah, this is really weird. So did you fly from Gatwick or Heathrow? Or was it somewhere else?
I flew from Gatwick. I flew from Gatwick to Mexico. I went to Gatwick to Paris, to then to go to Mexico. I only stopped It was just a stopover in Paris.
Yeah.
And then I had a few problems getting out of Mexico with booking flights, because I'm a muppet. I ended up wasting quite a lot of money on flights, as in about I got some of it back, but I still wasted about 12,000, but 12, not 12,000 pounds,
I
£1,200.
was gonna say. Jesus
Yeah, I don't have that much money. I don't have no money. That's just how it is. I'm just waiting for the payout from the UKMF podcast. That's what it is.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was Gatwick like? Because I imagine it must be like virtually dead at the moment.
So I did obviously having gone to so many, obviously Mexico and America, and then flying to a lot of different places around America. All of the airports, not just Gatwick, all of the airports were pretty much empty, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember turning up at Gatwick. I'm sure it was Gatwick, unless it was Heathrow. Either way, if it was Heathrow, it's a bigger airport as well. And I checked in my bag straight away. There was no queue to check in. Went to security. My mum and dad dropped me off, and they couldn't come into the airport because of COVID restrictions. I checked in my bag, went to security, got through security within about 5 or 10 minutes. There was hardly any queue. It went by very, very smoothly. And then I had like a 3-hour wait for my flight because there was just no one there. There was no one flying, especially when I flew back in June. June. COVID restrictions are still very much in place. It's at least there were some, at least, not like now there aren't any really. And then in America, I didn't have to do COVID tests because it was a domestic flight. Other than having to wear a mask all the time, obviously that was a drawback, but you sort of got used to it. That was something I was a bit conscious of, thinking, oh man, 7, 8 hour, 10-hour flights with just wearing a mask the whole time. But you sort of just get used to it. You just sort of forget it's there most of the time.
Yeah.
And to be honest, it's just so much quicker. It's so nice being able to fly in an airport where there aren't loads of people, because no one's flying, no one can fly.
Yeah.
It just makes life so much easier.
So were like any of like the shops or the restaurants open, or were they all like closed?
Yeah, some of them were open because obviously there were still people flying because people had
Yeah.
to fly for business and things. The airports are still empty, but there were people.
So yeah.
It was probably maybe 1/5 of the amount of people that would be there normally.
Okay.
I guess.
So it's not like it's not like dead, but it's like
It's still
quiet for
pretty
an
dead.
airport.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's very, very quiet for an airport, but not dead.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, some shops, some like restaurants and shops weren't open. Most of the shops were open. There was a couple of restaurants that weren't open, but yeah, there was enough places that were open. You could find something to eat and have a browse around the really expensive, what are meant to be duty-free shops. But you know, that's not really my cup of tea. So, yeah, really weird environment to be in.
I can imagine.
What was it like whilst you're out in America and sort of restriction-wise, COVID-wise, compared to what it was over here?
COVID-wise, so masks everywhere. So coming back here and not having to wear a mask, like when I first met up with Kav, with Kav, and I had to go to we went for a carvery, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot my mask. I was like, well, you don't need a mask. I was like, oh yeah, you don't need a mask. Yeah, because everywhere you went, you needed to wear a mask, just like it was a couple of months ago for us. They're just a little bit behind. A lot of people wore masks around the street. In Mexico, everyone wore masks in the street. I wore masks in the street in Mexico just because that was somewhere I didn't want to get COVID. If I got it in America, at least I was there for a while. But if I got it in Mexico, then that was just going to be a nightmare. And restriction-wise, every state is different, so they don't have the same restrictions in each state. So, for example, New York and a lot of California had much higher restrictions than places like Florida, for example. So I'm pretty sure Florida just pretty much just carried on through COVID without really worrying about it, for the most part, from what I was told. And so in hotels, they weren't allowed to serve food in New York or California because of COVID restrictions. But whereas if you went somewhere to a different state, maybe Washington, they would be allowed. It just wasn't. It was just very different from state to state. But New York being the place I spent the most time in, I don't. Yeah, I'm pretty sure masks are mandatory in shops, but a lot of people just wouldn't listen to that anyway. Americans tend to just like to do their own thing because they're weird most of the time. So, but yeah, restriction-wise, it was very similar to what we had a few months ago.
Okay.
So yeah, from what I remember at least, anyway, from what it was like here a few months ago, it was nothing out of the ordinary. It was just
Okay.
like carrying on.
Fair enough.
It's nothing we've haven't done before.
All right.
So one
Just not.
off-topic question. I saw
Go
you
on.
post a picture of a American wannabe roast dinner.
Oh my god, mate, that was my next question.
And I was just gonna ask, how did the American roast dinner compare to English roast dinner?
Oh man. So I think it's got. I mean, it's. I'm not gonna lie to you, lads. It's pretty mediocre. The Yorkshire puddings, very poor, very very poor. There weren't enough vegetables. The gravy was meh, but the meat was really good. The chicken, the lamb, and I think beef I had. That was really good. Potatoes were good. It just wasn't. This is really weird to say. There just wasn't enough subs. There was lots of meat, but that was it. There was just not enough of everything else. The roast dinner that makes a roast dinner.
Sounds about
Yeah.
right.
There wasn't enough potatoes. There wasn't enough potatoes. There wasn't enough vegetables. Obviously, what is a vegetable in the US? There was stuffing. The stuffing was pretty good, but there was just way too much of it. But it was probably like a 6 out of 10. But the Yorkshire puddings let it down for sure. The Yorkshire puddings were very, very poor.
What was the food like
as
whilst you're out there?
So, I mean, the food I had. I mean, living in a family household. They home cooked everything, which was really nice. Sort of living with a traditionally Indian family, so I had a lot of Indian food and sort of tried to get a little bit used to eating spicy food because my tolerance for anything flavoursome is, well, non-existent, as these guys will both know, having lived quite a fussy growing up with food, should we say. But yeah, the food was pretty good. I was always trying to eat out at fairly good-ish bases because I actually wanted to not get fat and live off McDonald's and stuff. I didn't ever have McDonald's in the US. I had it in Mexico, never had it in the US. So I didn't get to experience. I mean, apparently everyone said it was horrible anyway, so I don't think I was missing out on much, which, well, I wasn't. But yeah, I think all in all the food was good. At camp, I was in the kitchen for a couple of weeks at camp when I arrived because I had to quarantine for 2 weeks before mixing with the campers, which made no sense because I was serving everyone food in the kitchen when I had to quarantine, which, whatever. So yeah, the food was okay. Towards the end of camp, the camp was struggling to get in supplies, so it was a bit more like chicken nuggets, mac and cheese, sort of very, very like frozen sort of food, not really very nutritious. Sort of very quick and easy food, which kind of sucked. But yeah, I think I ate fairly well. I didn't eat like a complete dog, so yeah, it wasn't too bad. Too bad.
Mate, I'd be fucked if I went out there. Mate, I'd come back looking like an exercise ball. It wouldn't be good.
You got a lot of temptations out there.
Mate,
a lot of temptations.
I'd be on the maddest like cardio focused workout plan when I got back. Yeah, it wouldn't be. I didn't think about that caveat of going out to America. So
yeah, there's a lot of junk food out in America, and like things like the bread. Oh, I don't understand. Like everything's got sugar in. The bread has just got sugar in. Almost every bit of bread I tasted is sweet.
I bet
Everything's got a sweetness to it.
Like sugar and butter, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I bet you there's like loads of like brioche kind of breads out there.
Yeah, there are. It's too much sugar. Too much sugar. Everything's got sugar in it. There's about a million. Yeah, you would love it. About a million different fizzy drinks for Kav to drink all day, every day, to slowly give him diabetes and rot away his teeth.
Probably really got it.
There's no dark fruits though, so you're not going to survive very well.
That's not the one, mate. Oh, that was my question. I was going to have an icebreaker question for any guest that we had on from now on, and it was going to be what's your go-to drink on a night out, and I completely forgot it.
I can answer it now for you.
Yeah, halfway through the podcast, it's fine. Yeah, let's go for
it. Yeah, good icebreaker. I mean, if there isn't a budget, then I'll probably I'm fancy. I would go for a cocktail, like a fruity cocktail. But however, if there is a budget, then I'd probably just go for like a cider, an old moon cider, probably raspberry and pineapple is pretty damn good.
And if he's feeling very
or if we're
adventurous,
going-
to get a fruit shoot.
Yeah, exactly. But you know, Jaeger bombs are pretty good. We like a good Jaeger bomb, and then if you chuck it.
I think Spencer
Dangerous.
disagrees with you on that.
Oh, well, it's just after that night on Friday, mate. I just can't be doing Jaeger anymore. It just wasn't good, mate. We went round Scott's house on Friday night, and Harry has lined up like 10 shots in a row, and he's like, "Oh, you go drink it." And someone drank it and ended up like throwing up, and I was like, "Yeah, I can do it." I ended up waking up in my own sick, so you know, I obviously couldn't do it.
There's a reason why I said that I am not touching any of the 10 shots.
It wasn't good.
That is a good fan.
And also bear in mind,
one of them was probably like the.
Spencer made up a drinking game, and then he lost at his own drinking game very badly.
Yeah, it wasn't good. There was like a spiked drink in there. Like, we knew it was spiked, but there was definitely a spiked drink in there as well, which had a shot of this like 95% alcohol.
Oh gosh.
I'm 99% sure I picked up that drink.
I was about to say you must have just had a 95% alcoholic drink, because I know you've got one.
It's not.
Yeah.
You've had a try of it, haven't you?
I don't think I smelt it, and that was enough to like put me out cold. I think. I don't think I ever had. I don't think I had any. Not that I mean, I think I would remember it if I had some. Because I can't remember who it was. Whoever we were with, she had like 3 shots of it or something like that.
Oh, it was Mia. Oh, Mia was clarted. Yeah, that was around Poppies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That was a mad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That was mad.
Yeah.
That was a crazy night.
It was something. I have the girlfriend has asked if she can ask Wesley a question. So.
I was like, okay.
Oh my gosh, so that could be anything.
Yeah,
You could ask
yourselves.
anything. Oh no.
Actually,
Okay.
I came to bring you wine as well because you're empty and I really drank the whole thing. So.
I can't believe you drink that wine now, Kav. I don't know what
Look
to
how much
say.
I've drunk. This is since the start.
Jesus Christ.
Webley, is that too loud?
Yeah,
Hello.
say it from here. Don't eat the microphone.
Did you
Nom,
go?
nom, nom.
My question for you is: did you go to America expecting to find love, or was it one of those, "Oh, princess," and you start singing and everything's amazing? You get married in a week.
I mean, I definitely didn't expect to go to America and find love. No, for sure. It definitely wasn't something that I thought was ever. It was never a plan. That's for sure. But I wouldn't also say that we definitely haven't got married in a week. We've known each other a little bit longer now. We're not married yet. So
yeah. He said yeah. He said yeah. That's all I needed to hear.
Oh no.
So basically, what you're saying is there's not going to be a Disney remake of it anytime soon.
No. Well, I don't think so.
Can
don't
I
know,
play
I don't think
Wesley?
so.
Can I play Wesley if there's a Disney remake?
I think Wesley can play Wesley.
Why is Wesley filming out of a potato?
your time is up.
Okay, bye.
Nah, it would be a pretty mad film though. Could you imagine? Kid goes skydiving in Mexico. You could alter the storyline. Skydives over the border into America
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
with grasshoppers in his mouth. Comes down, lands on girl, ends up falling in love with girl. Well, call me Steven Spielberg. Mate.
I mean, that's a good storyline for me, I'll be honest.
Completely missed out the whole camp section. Just...
Like, it was just like the basis, mate. It was just the basis.
Oh, I see.
That is a good. I think it's got potential. You know,
Yeah.
One day.
trailer coming soon. Trailer coming soon to UKMF.
There we go. UKMF films.
Maybe one day.
Exactly.
I think we're a long way off of that.
You've once you hit 100 subs, then I think it can happen.
Maybe get 100 subs, we buy a production team and company.
Yeah,
Alright.
yeah, I think so. You gotta be like Mr. Beast. Think big.
Yeah, let me just whip out
Invest.
let me just whip our Millie out. Out of
Did
nowhere.
you
Oh yeah.
did you see? He uploaded a TikTok the other day. It was like, if this
Right.
TikTok gets 10 million likes, I will recreate Squid Game in real life. So I don't know if that's a video that we're going to be getting soon.
Probably.
I mean, I assume it's without the death.
Yeah.
I would-
like it. Yeah.
I assume it'll probably be like, if you lose, you get shot by a paintball gun or something like that. It'll be something like that, won't it?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, I
like,
don't
yeah.
think
Something like
Mr.
that,
Beast is going to be
yeah.
out here massacring half America for a YouTube video.
Would be kind of. Could you imagine though?
I
Just
mean,
gets all
it will do numbers, but
Yeah, it would.
Imagine if they
I think
the way they do it
Go
is
on.
they get all the contestants are just people on death row. So like it doesn't really matter because they're gonna die anyway.
oh my god. Imagine.
And then one person, they don't get any money. They just don't go onto death row. They get
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
That's their prize.
to be fair, I
That'd be-
wouldn't put it past America to whip something like that out.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally.
Would be
The
crazy.
thing is, I generally think that something like the Squid Game definitely does happen somewhere in the world. That's the scary thing. There's something like that happens somewhere for sure.
Yeah, I haven't actually finished it yet. I think I'm working from home tomorrow, so I think I might do that or watch that whilst I'm working from home. So
It's
planning
worth
on finishing it
It's good.
tomorrow.
It is good. It is good.
Well, some productive then, basically.
Yeah, very
you seen it,
productive. I work
Yeah,
hard,
I've
mate.
seen it.
I'm a hard worker, mate. That's why I got my bonus, mate. My pay rise.
Oh, nice.
I went from
Big
band
flex.
3 to band 4, mate, because
What?
I work
Oh.
hard, especially from home.
But you fluked it.
And
Uh,
oh, you didn't even get an interview, mate, so you can shut up.
Yeah, I'm a bit quiet now.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think-
that's amazing.
About
I
an
think
hour
we're
in
gonna
now.
have to have. Yeah, I think we're
Well,
just
yeah,
gonna
so we
have
must
to
be
have.
nearly an hour in.
We're just gonna have Wes on just a few times, aren't we? I think it's just gonna be one of them things. I think there's so many questions about America, about what you've done before America, about school, about everything, like about the woodwork.
mean,
like,
there's a lot of
so
his-
many
there's-
questions.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I've known you, Spencer, since what, we were 12, something like that.
Yeah,
And
year 8 in
then
school.
I've known
so-
Kav. Me and Kav have been friends since we were 4 years old. So there's a lot of history there. There's a lot of things we can cover. So
yeah, it is.
yeah. So
Yeah.
if you guys want me back and people actually enjoy listening to me waffle on, then I'm sure it can happen.
I'm sure there'll be demand for having
Okay.
Wes back on the pod.
We'll get him on.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a plan to me.
Cheers for coming on, Wesley, and sharing your story.
No, thank you for having me. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm sure you'll hear more about it in whenever the next podcast is.
Yeah, we'll try and get you on with a few other people. And
Yeah.
That'll be cool. Yeah.
Do have some Halloween and Christmas plans as well. I don't know if Kav knows about my Christmas plans, but I do have some Christmas plans for the podcast.
I can't say I do.
So
You tell me
Ah.
very, very briefly.
pretty much, I don't really know what the plans are, but I just think the 12 days leading up to Christmas, we should just release a podcast every day. So we might just have to film some back to back.
Ooh,
I think Spen should piss his nipples at the balls.
we can do that. That sounds like a good idea, guys.
Did you hear?
Look forward to seeing
Did you hear what Sahara just said? The microphone picked up, so it's definitely on video.
I heard. I think
heard.
Ben should pierce his nipples.
And put baubles in them.
I don't know about that. We might just get Brandon on for that episode because he's got one pierced nipple.
Well, on that note, we'll end it there. Cheers for listening and watching.
Cheers, thank you very
Good
much.
of it.
I